Welcome to the Summer Sprint Draft Prediction Show, where I will share my current view, anyway, of what expect or hope or long shot guess of what the first round is going to look like. Maybe we'll go second round. We'll see how it goes here for Summer Sprint 84. First pick, which is yet to be revealed as we sit here at 1:18 Eastern Time on Wednesday, May 7th. We have yet to formally open the draft. But now you may know I have selected San Francisco DBs. We review the lottery first. Came in at 942. This is one of the years where I think at least the top two picks seem to me to be pretty meaningful. I'm not a big fan after the top two of what's left. But for a variety of reasons. I mean, there's some big separations still, okay? But not the separations that seem obvious, meaning breakpoints, between different groups within a position group. Anyway, you see Ken here at 935. A lot of evening action here to break into the top five. 4 out of the top 5 were drawn in the evening. The only one that stayed there was the number 1 pick from the morning time. And then you see the evening also rounded out the bottom, which is a interesting bottom there with Dennis and Brian, 2 playoff teams from this year. Butch, longtime member, Larry, they're down there as well at 021. We'll see how quick they can turn it for us at the end. But at the top, see if 3 of us here, Anthony, Ken, and Joe, can provide some quick turns as well for the group. Anyway, first pick, San Francisco DBs. The next pick, to me, is pretty obvious. It's going to be Miami quarterbacks. So we will assume Ken, who I don't have all the historicals here. Could have pulled them up, I guess, where people go in the first round. But we'll go with Miami quarterback. Of course, Ken took the Miami quarterbacks in Battle Royale, but he's not a Miami Dolphins fan. He's a New York fan. Nonetheless, I think it's an obvious pick here to take Marino, and that's where things get interesting here is number 3. And as the evening was wearing on last night, I was thinking, geez, I'm at number 1. I can deal with going down to number 2, but boy, if I go to number 3, then that is a problem. I wouldn't have minded being either one of these guys. Number 3, I think, was kind of the raw deal of the draft, as it's not so clear where you should go. Now, I would say, as you look at these groups and sort of a combo summary, there's only one team that would provide you excellent. This is down here's all the excellence. Okay, provide you an excellent and persist all the way out to more than 16 teams, and that's 4-3, and that's San Francisco, right? So, as I'm looking at the first round, is there any other DBs that are, well, yeah, I mean, if it lasts long, if the DBs last long enough, you could see this right here, the fact that there's a second team that will get you 7 linebacker groups deep. And so as you look at the first round and the latter half of the first round, you're not going to take that chance if you're Joe. Okay. So in other words, if you were to take this spot 4, 5, 6, 7, if you're Bob at 10, you go DB here. If they're still there, and that's the Raiders, I believe, then you're locked in with excellent pass defense, right? So you have to go linebacker the next time around. Sort of locked into that. But Bob would have that shot. Obviously, you're not even near that with Joe. You can't take that kind of chance. So there's also no excellent run defenses to be had. So you're going to lock in, but not that many goods, really. So you're going to lock in Right now, you're going to have to go offense here. I just don't, unless you're in love with a group for pass rush reasons or something. It seems like you're going to go offense. If you're going to go offense, well, then you're looking at most likely a halfback, fullback decision. I'm going to say here that Joe will go with the biggest card. I don't think it's the best halfback group out there. I have him rated as the best halfback group out there. He could go fullback with him and get Pete Holohan. And that's what I think he's going to do. So we'll see a fullback selection here. I'm going to bow out for just a second. I'll be right back. Okay, back for at least for a minute. As we look at the ratings guide here, and the halfbacks, fullbacks, you see Dickerson can play the fullback role, and you're gonna pick up. Sorry, let's say Holohan. You're gonna pick up David Hill. You're picking up Mike Gunman. You're gonna want that group, which is not necessarily ranked very high for a 2 tight end group. Keep in mind, I haven't looked that closely. I never really considered the back here. Never got that far. Would have had to if my number came out. It was nice to have that early number yesterday. But let's take a look at the tight end ranks here. LA's 2 tight ends ranked 22nd overall. So no, sorry, you're not going to do it. I would go Chicago. Halfbacks probably is where I'd end up. So one thing that I looked at, just looking at my rankings, is where are their big break points, right? It's a big break point here at number 1 halfback. I have the number 1 halfback group rated as Chicago, okay, by quite a distance over the Rams. So that's why I think I'd go there if it were me. But I don't think the rest of the world views things that way. I mean, those break points are really important when drafting here because you see another 34%. This is the value of the top fullback group with Dickerson in his fullback versus the rest of the fullback versus the next one. Okay, so Marino is 18% better than Dan Fouts, who's my number 2. And then Fouts is 1% better than I think Neil Lomax, who's the number 3. So you can see where there's big breaks, where there's like a step down. There's a pretty big step down here from Chicago to the Rams. And if the Rams is a step down to Green Bay. So this is a tough pick, and again, I haven't spent much time thinking about this one. You're not going anywhere near receivers. You're not going tight end. You see this number down here. This is the total sort of calculated step downs. You see there's not much difference between the first and the 17th kicker this year, right? So you're not going to go kicker early. But you are going to go offensive line early for pass block. Huge fall between first and 17 when you add them all up, right? The total breaks along the way, but also big breaks at quarterback, halfback, fullback. So you can go quarterback again, right? Only a 2% drop, but if you're coming back and you're Joe, you're not going to have much else. Halfback will give you separation if you go Chicago. Let's dive into that a little bit. Why Chicago when, for example, not Los Angeles? Okay. If you take away receiving, oh, by the way, still beat them. Okay. Not by as big a margin, but still beat them. Where is this group picking up credit? Halfbacks are difficult to rate, I can tell you. They're more subjective than most spots. Anyway, you see here the 7 points starting here. Higher the better. You can see that in terms of these running categories, line buck, off tackle, end run, line buck right, off tackle right, all the running categories, Rams are better. Okay. And they're better by quite a margin. You see here, 95 is the sum compared to Chicago's pure running of 63. So there's a 30-point difference there. Chicago makes it up everywhere else pretty much, right? They make it up in the fumble. Best back fumble, much better for Peyton than Dickerson. They do much better in pass block. Get a max 50, right? Which makes up for all the running gaps based on that 7 out of Walter Payton. Huge getting that 7. Don't value the running block as much, but they get some back there too. In terms of receiving, you'll see that Rams don't even have a long pass. So Chicago gives you a long pass option. In terms of carries, dead heat. Carries total. This carries for the best back. Dead heat. Carries total goes to the Rams. So your big points here is the pass block you're getting, and you're getting a boost in receiving for sure, and fumble. And that's why Chicago separates themselves. So when I take them number 3, but I don't believe you're going to get a shot on them on the way back. I also don't believe you're going to get a shot at Dan Fouts on the way back, or Neil Lomax if that's what you prefer. Let's take a look at Fouts' card. Seven long gain when Marino brings you the 730 yards. Nonetheless, the difference between them is pretty significant, over a yard. Where is Marino better than Fouts? Well, Fouts is a better flat pass. 7th in flat pass compared to 14. You see that nice flat pass there? So Fouts picks up 0.6 of a yard there in that category. First versus 4th in short pass. First versus 2nd in long pass. Let's check out the fumbling situation. Snap fumble of 7. You don't want to run Fouts, so he's got some fumbling problems. Marino, though, is going to pick up some men. See that must-run percentage right here. He's going to walk into some 23 fumbles guessed right, which is going to cost him a fumble maybe throughout the year. When you add it all up, per play basis, Fouts is losing 0.4 yards a play based on value of 40 of losing a fumble. You have to lose fumble, right? So we break that down here. Sometimes you get them and you get them back. We just assign a -2 on the play. -40 when you lose it. And you see here that Fouts is a little bit worse than the fumbling as well. So let's just check that third quarterback. That third quarterback is indeed Lomax, and he's just 0.04 behind Fouts. So what are you picking up there? With Lomax, you're getting an even better flat pass, 6 short pass versus 4, 5th long pass versus 2. So you get a better flat pass. And I'm going to tell you, that's worth a lot. You also get an end run. You also get better fumbles. So it all comes down to strategy here. Now, if you were to, let's look at this what these assumptions are based on, right? We're basing this on 22% long pass. We did 17 in Battle Royale as a group, the entire league, okay, with some pretty bad long pass cards. So I bumped up the assumptions here to 22, with flat pass being the least selected. I think we're going to wind up like this. However, with a guy like Lomax, right, you can afford to have a little bit less of a line, and you can flat pass here 45% of the time. and maybe go something like 35, maybe 38, somewhere in that range. And let's see what that does. That actually brings Lomax down. How does that bring Lomax down? Interesting. Montana passes him. Interesting stuff here. You can play with these assumptions all day, but when you do, and you really should, and I'm going to when I take my quarterback, once I understand my team better, right? I'm going to change all the assumptions here for all the quarterbacks around him, most likely. But this just gives you a sort of pure view. I like Lomax here. I like Lomax because he brings you some protection if you don't end up with a great, this early of a pick, if you don't end up with a great offensive line. And to me, that was really the major difference for me taking San Francisco. One of the big ones was the fact that I wasn't guaranteed to get a good line coming back, and I felt I needed a good line with Marino. So there's big, as you can see here, there's just big drop-offs in pass block. Pass block is the most amount of breakpoints. So if you don't get number one, you're getting a 14% step back. Well, if you don't get number two, you're going to get an 8% step back. If you don't get number four in total, you are 40% worse than Miami, even if you get a top five. So big drops. Lomax provides some protection with that. So St. Louis quarterbacks will be Joe at number 3. And hey, it's not an easy pill to swallow if you're Joe there. It's not easy because you're just one pick away from Marino, right? And you're taking a pretty big haircut, a 19% haircut, or maybe 21% haircut to get 21% haircut and expected yards per play with just one draft pick behind. You're on the wrong end of a break point there, but that's why I didn't like that 3 spot. You're Joe, that's what you got to do. So now, I think all the way until you get to Bob, these should be offensively focused picks. So Greg is going to jump in, and we're going to see a couple halfbacks go here. We're going to see LAN halfback go to Greg, and we're going to we'll see CHN halfback go to Greg, and we'll see LAN halfback go to Toby. Nicholas comes in. He's going to end up with the San Diego quarterback. John, also a tough spot. You take Montana here? Probably. Let's take a quick look at Joe. Nice in all 3 columns. I mean, you got great columns across the board. Nice little must run. Not really. Give you nothing in the end run. Overall, where am I here? See Montana ranked 4, 5.87. And his ranks 10th in flat pass, 2nd in short pass, and 10th in long pass. Overall, number 4. I think it's either that or you'd be looking to the halfback world. I doubt anybody ranks Green Bay as much as high as me. I shared that view with one coach. I regret it now because I'd love to get them on the turn. But, you're going to go down to the Jets or Cincinnati? No. Maybe. I doubt it. I think you go San Francisco quarterback here. Big name helps too. Dennis up here at number 8. He's got 8 guys ahead of him. No defense off the board so far. If you go quarterback, you're looking at McMahon. Yeah, McMahon. And then Eason. So a pretty significant drop. Although McMahon's pretty darn good. Great must runs. And then when you're guessed wrong, he can do damage. And he also brings you a nice backup for flat passing. So you see he does damage when you're against run. He's not just delivering those must runs. There's those must runs, which, are not great. That's you'd like to see a 5-yard there on 8, But Fuller is a top flat passer. We'll check his ranking in a second, but he's way up there. Fuller is ranked number 1 in flat pass. So, do you go with McMahon? Do you look to fullbacks? No, there's anything there yet. Second will be Denver. Let's look over to the defensive side. Got some great pass rush to grab if you want it. If you want to be in a 3-4, going to be looking to teams over 20. Right there, Pittsburgh is going to be your team, most likely. 6, 6, 4, 5. And do you get any interior pass rush? Oh, you get some. You get a 12, 12. Pittsburgh linebackers seem like a pretty safe bet here. Definitely stand out from the crowd. Let's say Pitt linebackers right there. Willie's turn. With that number 1 linebacker group going, you might see him look to a number 1 defensive line group coming up here. So who's looking the best among the defensive line? You've got Tampa, Kansas City are your best options. Out of a 3-4, out of a 4-3, Washington comes into play. Washington's pass rush is mediocre, I know. So 3-4 between Tampa and their 19 pass rush, which ain't so hot. And the other 16, Kansas City, and they're 29. So pretty clear here. It's going to be Kansas City. Yeah, I think Kansas City is a pretty nice pick right there. So we're going to go KCADL for Willie. And now you get to Bob, right? This is a nice situation for Bob. You can get excellent pass defense. I think it's just going to happen. You might see Dennis try to prevent it here. That's an interesting idea, is that Dennis might go LAADB instead. Let's see if I'm picking up the points on that. I am, and they're 22. Enough of a drop back. I don't know. Dennis will look at those sorts of things and try to deprive Bob. Oh, that pass rush. Interesting. All right, we'll make the switch. So it'll only just be 1 excellent pass D if this is what happens. As Bob then looks to the linebackers. Yeah. So now we've cleared off the best unit with Pittsburgh being taken at just about every defensive position for sure. And now this bottom half here, they can solidify some defensive ratings right here, right now, if they want to. Or they can look into the second tier for the offense. At some point along the line here, the offensive line for Miami comes into play as well. Tyke. Tyco O-line. With all this pass rush, it's a huge, huge boon to get the Miami offensive line. You see the break points here. Right? You're getting a 14% bump versus the nearest in terms of pass block, 12% overall. A pretty big set, and obviously pass block is the biggest separation in the entire league versus 1 through 16. With Tyco there, you're looking for another premier group. You see all these sort of premiers going out here in the last two picks. If you were to go quarterback, be down to number 5, and that would be McMahon. McMahon's pretty good. No, he can't pull the trigger. Passing just not good enough. So, is there enough juice in the DB group? Probably not. Next best linebacker group? That's a possibility. You'd be locked into good and pass. If you do it, max up on the pass rush. Pittsburgh group is so good. You could see somebody in here doing Pittsburgh linebacker instead. Anyway, Tyke here. Let's look again at the linebackers. Cleveland, get guaranteed 3-4. He's at the 6th level, so he just needs 6 guys to pair with, right? He's the 6th. So if 5 were to go, he'd be the 6th. So he just needs 6. Pittsburgh's off the board, but you have San Diego, New England, the Raiders, Denver. You got some choices there, so he can get good run. Sorry, good pass. Oh, I'm sorry. Pairing with DBs. Okay, well, that's good. Not a bad thing. On the run side, you see Miami can deliver. Seattle can deliver on the run side. Can they deliver both Miami and Seattle? Miami, Seattle, San Francisco. San Francisco doesn't much pass rush. Seattle can, of course, and Miami cannot deliver. Guarantee good. So let's look at San Diego. That's an interesting bit here. San Diego gives you 27 pass rush. Down to 18 in rankings. It's in 3-4, right? Yeah. Giants up here. Or Green Bay. You get 6-5 coverage from Green Bay. Where the Giants have you at 4-6, and one of the 6 is going to be blitzing a lot. It's just Lawrence. LT. So maybe it's Green Bay. What does Green Bay give you in terms of combos? Green Bay gives you 6 on the pass. Green Bay gives you nothing on the run. Is that right? No, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Sorry. I'm looking at the wrong. Green Bay here. Oh yeah, well, it's just 2 anyway. Okay. So you're probably going to go for that good pass, and you're going to go with Green Bay linebacker, or you're down to, Green Bay linebacker. Again, a pretty big fall from Pittsburgh. John up next. I'm just not loving the halfbacks. I see no big separation from the wide receivers. Beyond the top two of the halfbacks, beyond the top four. At some point, McMahon's going to make sense here for somebody. By the way, it may be more than just McMahon because traditionalists, who see Barkowski really high by Strat may go for him, reach for him here, or Eason. Can't imagine they would though. Eason, Barkowski's got a tempting card. I got him ranked down 10, penalizing for his INTs. Just check in on the draft here. Nothing new. Nothing new. Well, I'm not gonna get past pick 3 until 5 p.m. Eastern anyway. So without loving the halfbacks at this level, okay, they're fine, but I don't know if I want to spend a first rounder after the first two. Tight ends. Cleveland. Yeah, Cleveland's a pretty good group. But you get Ozzie Newsome and you get Ernest Biner. Biner fumbles a lot, though. Pretty big fumbler. I see you going back to D-line here or something. Maybe DBs. Let's take a look here. Still got 120 left in DBs. You got a bunch of 20s left in DB. You got 21. Yeah, you got 21. So maybe Seattle would be the way to go. At 21. As a defensive back group, Seattle is going to match up in the 3-4. You're going to lock in good the entire time. You don't have to go back to linebackers for a long time. That's a nice feature. True for a number of these guys up here. Which, you got some, you got the very interesting stuff here with this defensive line from the Raiders because you've got Howie Long that moves around. Okay, so let's just look at it from this angle. It's a little bit clearer because of Long moving around. Okay, what do you get? 12, 12, 9. Plus, the problem is it's only got 14 total points. Boy, that pass rush is great. Not going to do it. Just not enough rating points there. Stepping away for a second. Move back. Back. We'll leave it like this. Okay, so Butch. Get good pass defense if he wants it. I think that's what you're going to have to do. About half the league is going to have good pass D. You're not going to have one of these premier quarterbacks, and it's probably what you need to invest in. You've got 3 DB groups gone. You have 2 linebacker groups gone. The DB groups, I don't think you're going to be that picky on. The linebacker groups bring you that extra dimension to pass rush. That's where he probably goes there for. So let's look at linebackers. Talked about San Diego. They bring you 27 to pass rush in a 3-4 set and 18. Raiders bring you 26 a pass rush and 20 across the board. .75 of pass. Brings you 8 a pass. Being a 5-6 on there for your coverage guys. And when you get 12-12, nobody else touches 8. Just check the 3-4 combos for Cleveland here and their linebackers. Yeah, it's really locked into good nicely here on the comeback, and you come back around. You match up with your DBs, you get the 12. If there's a choice that's near it, seem to be San Diego at 7. Brings you 27 pass rush. Chicago. If you went 3-4, you could still get 7.25 and bring plenty of pass rush with yourself. But really, not much pass rush at all. What am I seeing here? Pass rush 22. Yeah, not much pass rush. Sorry. That's Chicago. Okay, this is Chicago. Yeah, Otis Wilson. 12-5. I think between the two. Oh, stepping away. Right back. All right. It was between Chicago and Cleveland. I think Cleveland's choice. So the extra 6, you're getting similar pass rush. So you both get a 12. You get a 12-12 versus the 12-5. Yeah. Your upgrades in pass rush are not high profile. It's the Cleveland linebackers for Butch. And it's on the quick turn. Is it time yet for Chicago quarterback? Here it is. Can probably pair it up with a great offensive line too, which you might see like here. So you see this defensive matchup, premier groups here. With the premier groups from all gone now, it's a question of, well, you can get the offensive line premier group and you can patch it up with the best quarterback available and have a discerning sort of a real passing advantage. I don't think Dennis is going to trust that Miami's going to come back to him here, however. Therefore, in this last he'd be looking at Chicago linebackers, maybe. Chicago Giants are out there. Cleveland's gone. Raiders are out there. New England's out there. Pittsburgh's not. So you can go for the good defensive pairing. Let's say Chicago linebackers. This one feels like guys can go any number of directions here. So feels like a bit of a more of a stretch. Ryan, Chicago QB. He gets the pair too. If I'm him, I'm going to break the seal first. Grab this Premier Group while you can get them. And then pair that with the best quarterback available. Or, if there's a lot more value, the running back side. So let's see, we have 5 quarterbacks gone, 2 halfbacks gone. So we're down to 6 quarterback. If you end up with a bad quarterback, can they bring you a good long pass? Let's see here. Maybe a Elway, who gets a partner with Kubiak. Spring for Barkowski now. I got him ranked all the way down to 10, though. I wouldn't do it. Seems there's better options. Theismann. On the halfback side, with just 2 gone, I got Green Bay next. After that, which probably is going to be overlooked, would be Freeman. Let's just take a look at Jets. A little pass blocking there. You get some long passing. Hector doesn't bring the blocking, which you think he would have, but he doesn't. Let's say you go with the passer here. And with that offensive line, you're going to go for a higher ranked long passer. So you're going to focus in on that. The best long passer available is who? You've got number 6 in Barkowski, who's available. You've got Ed Luther, who's available for Houston. Oh, no, he's not. Sorry. I thought it was Houston. I was confusing the two. That's Oliver Luck. No. Okay. Number 7's available, which is Warren Moon. But he's way down there compared to Barkowski. Oh, they're close. So it's Barkowski and Moon. Number 4 is available, Phil Simms. Maybe that's your man. That may be your man. I got him high ranked generally. Overall, he's right in the next group. That offensive line, you should use it to go deep. Simms can do that on 8, 9. Also 3 gives you a must run there too. Yeah. Yep. Pairing that long pass with the offensive line is the right turn of events right there. At that point, you're kind of caught up with Marino. Probably an expected yards when you calculate it versus whatever O-line Ken's going to get. And you might see a little mini run of offensive line here. And with that, boy, you'd love to just play this out with these pairings, but let's just leave it there for now. Maybe I'll come back and do more, but we'll drop it right there, and we'll see how close we come. Thanks for watching.
Big opening for Tony Dorsett. Look out, he's got great speed. 99 yards and a half. Dorsett down the sideline. Stays in bounds. Can you believe that?